Jaden versus the darkness. The world has been plunged into darkness by the embodiment of darkness itself. Jaden is the last man standing. Can he defeat this unstoppable force, wielding the powers of nothingness and infinity? Spoilers, yes, but it was a hard-fought victory. It could have gone either way, so it makes me wonder, with how powerful the Darkness's deck is, with any alternative plays, could the outcome of the duel have been different? But before we answer that, the more important question is, what the hell is that skeleton got in his hand? Is today's sponsor. Figures Yu-Gi-Oh! Wave 1 and Wave 2 have been collected. Now, Wave 3 is here, featuring Joey Wheeler and his most iconic monsters. What are figures? Well, they're magnetic pixel art you can display anywhere. And guess what? They don't just have Yu-Gi-Oh! They have a lot of different franchises. Guaranteed that at least one of them is something you can enjoy. Start your quest today and maybe even get lucky and find an ultra rare gold chase variant in one of your packs. Now is definitely the time to get involved because the next set coming out has all 3 Egyptian god cards and Marek Ishtar. Use the link in the description and the link pinned down in the comments alongside my discount code TGSAnime to get yourself an exclusive deal at figgies.com. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into the duel. The duel begins and the Darkness goes first. He draws and his opening hand consists of Darkness Eye, Darkness Outsider, Darkness Slime, Darkness Raincrow, Darkness the Field Spell, and a mysterious card. Get ready to hear the word Darkness a lot today. Why would you name your deck after your cards, you fool? Sorry. The Darkness starts by summoning his Darkness Eye to the field. He then activates his Darkness Field Spell. Darkness, the Field Spell, when activated, destroys all spells and traps in the Darkness, the person's spell and trap zones. It then places 5 specific traps from his hand and or deck onto the field. These cards are set randomly and cannot be looked at while face down. The Darkness sets 0, Infinity, Darkness 1, Darkness 2, and Darkness 3 randomly into his spell and trap zones. But that's not all. Part 2 of the field spell's effect is, during each end phase, while this Darkness field spell is on the field, any face-up trap cards that the Darkness controls will be reset face down and then shuffled. If any spell or trap is removed from the owner's field, all spells and traps the Darkness controls are destroyed. Okay, so what's the game plan with these Darkness cards? What's the point of them? Well, they work like regular traps. You can activate them whenever, but they only work if you activate 0 and Infinity first. If these 2 cards are activated, then all traps between them automatically activate as well. The cards in between will always be Darkness 1, Darkness 2, or Darkness 3, but because it's randomly shuffled, it depends how many are in the middle kind of thing. So you might just have 1, you might have 2, or you could have all 3. Whatever Darkness card activates first has its effect applied. And then for every extra Darkness card that activates, its effect is amplified. For instance, if Darkness 1 is activated, first it destroys 1 card the opponent controls, and then can destroy an additional card for each following Darkness trap activated. If Darkness 2 activates first, it does the same, but instead increases the attack of a monster by 1000, and then 1000 more for each additional Darkness trap card. Finally, if Darkness 3 activates first, it inflicts 1000 burn damage, followed by 1000 more for each additional Darkness trap activated. The TLDR of this is the Darkness needs to get lucky with how many of his Darkness cards are in between. So when they both activate, whatever's in between, he can use. He also needs to get really lucky with which cards are in between, because a situation might need destruction or it might need an attack boost. So it's very heavily luck reliant, this deck. And of course, I'm sure you've noticed, well, how are you supposed to know what cards are face down? You can't check, so how do you know you're activating 0 Infinity? What if you whiff? Well, that's the risk of these cards. However, spoilers, unaware to us, the audience, and Jaden himself, is that the Darkness's monster, Darkness Eye, has the effect, once per turn during either player's turn, you can look at all set spells and traps you control, ignoring the effects of Darkness. As well, if it's in face of attack position during his standby phase, he can normal summon 1 monster without tributing. Well, basically, the Darkness knows what's face down on his field every turn while that Darkness Eye is on the field. We don't know, the audience. Jaden doesn't know. He never declares he's activating this effect, which is very, very naughty, the Darkness. But, yeah. Fun fact. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of Elemental Hero Sparkman, Relationship, Effect Shut, Astral Shift, Hope for the Future, and Hero Barrier. Jaden starts by summoning his Elemental Hero Sparkman to the field. He moves straight into his battle phase and attacks Darkness Eye. In response, the Darkness activates one of his set cards. He activates 0, followed by Infinity. Now, all set cards between 0 and Infinity activate. Only one card is between them, Darkness 1. Its effect activates, destroying one card on the field. He destroys Sparkman. Jaden moves into his main phase 2 and activates his spell Relationship. Since a monster he controlled was destroyed this turn, he can special summon an elemental hero with equal attack to the destroyed monster from his hand or deck. He summons elemental hero Necroshade from his deck into defense. Jaden sets his hero barrier face down and ends his turn. As the end phase occurs, Night Shroud's field spell resets all his traps face down and then shuffles them. Now, I'm actually going to have to give the Darkness huge shenanigans for this because Jaden has a card called Effect Shut, which can negate the effect of a monster, activates its effect. So if he would have known this from the start, he could have used that to destroy Darkness Eye and get it on the field, and we would have taken a good lead in the duel because the Darkness wouldn't have been able to use his face down. So, I mean, he could have, but he'd be whiffing a lot of the time. So yeah, huge shenanigan to the Darkness. We should have been made aware of that. That's really bad. Poor form. It's back to the Darkness, and he draws Darkness Destroyer. As the standby phase occurs, Darkness Eye's second effect activates, allowing him to summon a high-level monster without cost. He summons the Darkness Destroyer he just drew. Its effect is it cannot be special summoned. This card can attack twice during each battle phase, and if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. Yet again, the Darkness looks at his set cards using Darkness Eye without Jaden or us knowing. With this knowledge, he activates his 0 followed by Infinity. The cards in between activate. This time, all 3 Darkness cards are activated. He chose for Darkness 2 to be activated first. Due to this card's effect, the attack of a monster increases by 1000, and then a further 1000 more for each Darkness card activated after it. Darkness Destroyer gains 3000 attack. He enters his battle phase and orders Darkness Destroyer to attack and destroy Necroshade. Jaden, in response, activates his set Hero Barrier, which negates one attack while there's an elemental hero on the field. Since Darkness Destroyer can attack again, he does. The attack deals piercing battle damage. Jaden takes the first damage of the duel. The Darkness ends his turn, and as he does, all his traps reset themselves and shuffle. As well, Darkness Destroyer's attack returns to normal. Okay, fun fact, the Darkness had 3 options to go for game here, and weirdly enough, all 3 of them wouldn't have worked because the option he went for makes the most sense. He's got a monster that can do double attack and piercing battle damage, increases attack by 3000, double attack into the monster to go for game. It's just a shame that Jaden had Hero Barrier, so unfortunately Darkness 2 didn't get the win here. If we would have gone with Darkness 1, destroy 2 cards on the field, destroy Elemental Hero Necroshade, and then destroy the back row. Well, fun fact about Hero Barrier, you can actually activate it whenever. You don't have to activate it on the declaration of attack. So Jaden could have chained this, and then he could have stopped one of the attacks, and then he would have taken 2300 damage to the face, and still would have survived. The third option, if the Darkness used Darkness 3 to deal 3000 damage to Jaden, that's a lot of damage, and then we attack with the Darkness Destroyer. We get Hero Barriered, but then we attack again. We destroy the monster, do piercing battle damage. We do 500 damage, leaving Jaden with 500 life points left. We still don't win. So yeah, unfortunately, there was no alternative options for Jaden to go with here. It's just a shame Darkness Eye didn't have an extra 500 attack points. So never mind. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Elemental Hero Neos. He immediately activates the effect of Necroshade in his grave, allowing him to summon a high-level elemental hero without tribute. He summons Neos to the field. At last, Jaden and the audience are made aware of Darkness Eye's effect, thanks to the help of Yugioh, his spirit companion. As the Darkness attempts to use its effect to look at his set cards, Jaden activates his quick play spell, Effect Shut. This card negates the activation of a monster's effect and then destroys it. Since the Darkness was unable to check where his 0 and Infinity are, he attempts it blind, only to completely whiff. Jaden successfully attacks and destroys Darkness Destroyer. He then ends his turn by setting Astral Shift face down. As the end phase occurs, the Darkness traps reset themselves and then shuffle. It's the Darkness's turn, and he draws Darkness Seed. He summons his Darkness Outsider to the field, and then uses its effect by discarding one card in his hand. He discards Darkness Seeds. Now, thanks to this card's effect, he can special summon one monster in his opponent's deck to his side of the field, and then give control of this monster to the opponent. The Darkness declares Jaden's Yugioh. Yugioh is summoned to his side of the field, and Darkness Outsider moves to Jaden's. Note, if you wondered why Yugioh of all things, it's because she was helping Jaden. He was like, oh, I'm going to take this monster from you so she can't help you anymore. Turn your own ally against you. So thematically, that's why he did it. Also, I think it's the only monster he knows that's in Jaden's deck because he saw the spirit version of her. So I don't think he knew any other card in Jaden's deck to declare. If he did, I would have gone for Elemental Hero Blade Edge. But it's just one of those things. Note that since Darkness Seed was sent to the grave, its effect activates. It will now summon itself to the field during the Darkness's second standby phase. And then, when it's summoned this way, it can't be destroyed by battle, and during each player's end phase, it will restore the controller's life points back to 4,000 if they're ever lower. The Darkness enters his battle phase and uses Yugioh to attack Neos. Due to Yugioh's anime effect, all damage she would take is inflicted to the opponent. If this attack is successful, the Darkness will win the duel. Luckily, Jaden activates his set Astral Shift, which changes an attack to a direct attack and allows him to draw a card. Yugioh attacks Jaden directly. However, with 0 damage, no damage is dealt. In this moment, Jaden promises to get Yugioh back. And as he says this, he draws for Astral Shift, getting Super Polymerization. The Darkness moves into his main phase too. Now, since the total attack of all monsters he controls equals 0, he can special summon his Darkness Slime from his hand into defense. When summoned this way, its attack becomes one monster on the field's defense, and its defense becomes that monster's attack. He chooses Jaden's elemental hero Neos. If you wondered, couldn't he have summoned this before the battle phase attacked? No, he can only summon this monster into defense, unfortunately. As the end phase occurs, something weird happens. To keep Yugioh on the field, a maintenance cost needs to be paid, which is that she needs a tribute to stay on the field. The problem is, the Darkness doesn't seem to pay any kind of cost. There's no scene or mention of it in the anime. So what's going on here? Was he cheating? Well, I think what happened is, remember that Darkness Outsider, the thing that swapped the two monsters, and we saw it go to Jaden's side of the field? I can only assume, since it's still tethered to Yugioh, and it's technically the Darkness's monster, even though it's on Jaden's side of the field, anime logic, to pay the cost, Yugioh tribute Darkness Outsider. And this makes sense because Darkness Outsider is just gone after this turn. It's just disappeared. No one mentions it or anything like that. So it is a bit weird. And Darkness Outsider is one of those monsters where you don't see the physical card. So we've got no concrete evidence of what its actual effect is. So this is the only way it makes sense. Darkness Outsider was somehow attributed from Jaden's side of the field since it's technically his monster, blah, blah, blah. So that's how Yugioh stays on the field. And I don't think I need to say this, but that is big shenanigans. And it's also weird, the Darkness doesn't even attempt to activate his Zero in Infinity. I think he just doesn't want to embarrass himself because he's bigged himself up as the Darkness, the embodiment of Darkness itself. I've mastered Zero in Infinity, but he already whiffed on the last turn, so I think he's embarrassed if he tries to do it again and whiffs. That would be quite bad, but it's worth a go. There's no like detriment to having a go at it anyway. So he should have tried, because if he happens to get Darkness 3, he should do 1,000 damage and just win the duel. So he should have tried at least. And I just want to confirm this as well. There's a lot of little technical things about this duel I want to mention, but so, you know, the Darkness's field spell. At the end phases, if there's any face-up trap cards, it sets them face down and then shuffles them on Darkness's side of the field. I just want you to keep in mind that this ability works even if it doesn't set anything face down. We don't see it during every end phase, but those back row are always being shuffled every end phase. Why is that important? It's important because in a couple more turns, the Darkness is going to use his traps. If cards weren't shuffled, I could tell you exactly now on this turn what the Darkness would happen if he activated them. I'd know where stuff is. But because they're being secretly shuffled every end phase, it's not important really. That's why we don't know. So I just thought I'd throw that out now. If you're like a couple turns later, oh, this is what he should have tried it. It doesn't really matter. It's shuffled every end phase. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Winged Kuriboh. Jaden immediately activates his super polymerization. He discards his Winged Kuriboh to activate it. Now he can fuse using both sides of the field, and the opponent cannot respond to this card in any way. Jaden fuses his elemental hero Neos on his side of the field with Yugioh on the darknesses. He summons Neos Wiseman. Fun fact, Neos Wiseman is made using all three of Jaden's spirit partners, Yugioh, Neos, and Winged Kuriboh as the discard cost. Jaden enters his battle phase and uses Neos Wingman to attack and destroy Darkness Slime. Since Neos Wiseman battled a monster, its effect inflicts damage to the opponent equal to the attack of the monster. It then increases his own life points by the defense of the monster. Jaden gains 2,500 life points. The darkness takes 2,000 damage. Jaden ends his turn. It's the darkness's turn, and he draws Darkness Necro Slime. He summons it to the field and then activates its effect by tributing itself. It special summons a darkness monster in the grave. He summons back Darkness Eye into defense. He uses Darkness Eye's effect to check his set cards. He activates 0 followed by Infinity, and then all cards in between activate. This time there are 2, Darkness 1 and Darkness 2. He activates Darkness 1 first so that he can destroy a card on the field. He attempts to destroy Neos Wiseman. However, Jaden reveals Neos Wiseman can't be destroyed by card effects, and so the darkness ends his turn. As he does, the field spell resets his traps and shuffles them. This is the anime, you don't have to declare what your cards are doing. You do have to declare when you activate cards, of course, but I think this is good getting back at the darkness for not revealing his ability to see what his face downs were with Darkness Eyes. So well done, Jaden. I thought that was quite clever. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Quick Summon. Jaden moves straight into his battle phase and uses Neos Wiseman to attack and destroy Darkness Eye. Darkness Eye is destroyed, and due to Neos Wiseman's effect, Jaden gains 1,000 life points. No damage is dealt, however, since Darkness Eye had 0 attack. Jaden ends his turn. Now, eagle-eyed viewers might have said, wait a minute, Darkness had Darkness Eye on the field, and he never even attempted to use his 0 and Infinity. He knows what's face down. Why didn't he do that? Well, I can only assume he checked without us, the audience, seeing it in the actual footage, and he saw either there was nothing between 0 and Infinity, so there was nothing to be activated, or whatever it was face down wouldn't have helped, because Darkness 1 to destroy a card doesn't help. Darkness 2, well, he would have to have had Darkness 1, 2, and 3 in the middle to get the best benefit, to increase attack by 3,000, but he left his monster in defense, so it didn't really matter anyway. And dealing burn damage, I mean, we could have done a bit of damage, but not enough to win because Jaden's at 4,000 life points. So I assume he just looked and it just wasn't worth activating. It's the Darkness's turn, and he draws a mysterious card. As the standby phase occurs, the effect of Darkness Seed in the grave finally resolves, since it's been there for 2 turns. It summons itself to the field. Now, while on the field, every end phase, the Darkness's life points, if lower than 4,000, will become 4,000. Unfortunately, with no way to go on the offensive, the Darkness ends his turn. As he does, his life points increase to 4,000. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Cocoon Veil. Jaden moves straight into his battle phase and uses Neos Wiseman to attack Darkness Seed. While it can't be destroyed by battle, the Darkness still takes the damage. As well, Neos Wiseman's effect deals effect damage to the Darkness and then restores Jaden's life points by its attack and defense. Jaden sets his Cocoon Veil face down and ends his turn. As he does, Darkness Seed restores the Darkness's life points back to 4,000. It's the Darkness's turn, and he draws Darkness Bramble. He tributes Darkness Seed to summon Darkness Bramble. Darkness Bramble has the effect to absorb the effects of the monster used for its summon. So it has Darkness Seed's abilities that it can't be destroyed by battle, and it restores life points during the end phase. As well, it has the bonus effect to check set spells and traps, just like Darkness Eye. He uses this effect immediately to look at his face downs. Armed with this knowledge, he activates 0 followed by Infinity. All cards in between activate, which is all 3. He chooses to activate Darkness Free first, which deals 1,000 damage, and then a further 1,000 more for each additional Darkness card that activates. Since there are 3, Jaden takes 3,000 damage. As the Darkness's turn comes to an end, his traps set themselves and shuffle. Now, was this the right move to make? No, not really. He should have instead gone for the attack boosting ability He has a 2,000 attack monster, boost it by 3,000, make it a 5,000 attack monster, attack into Neos Wise Man, destroy it because it's gaining him life points every turn anyway. So just get that monster off the field. You know it's going to attack you next turn and gain life points. So just get rid of it. It would have really, really helped. All Jaden would have done, it would have floated into a Neos, Elemental Hero Neos after this, but that's fine. We don't really care about that at the moment. So yeah, that's a pretty big misplay from the Darkness. He chose 3,000 burn damage when he's got 5,000 life points instead of dealing with a problematic monster. Silly. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Chrysalis Pantail. The Darkness uses his Darkness Bramble to look at his set cards. He immediately activates his 0 and Infinity, followed by all cards in between, which are 2 cards, Darkness 3 and Darkness 1. He activates Darkness 3 first to deal 2,000 damage. If this damage is successful, Jaden will lose the duel. Luckily, he plays his Quick Summon spell, which lets him immediately normal summon a monster. He summons Chrysalis Pantail. He then activates his set Cocoon Veil, which can only be activated by tributing 1 Chrysalis monster. This turn, any damage Jaden would take becomes 0. He can then special summon a Neospatian written on that card's text from his hand, deck, or grave. Thanks to this, Jaden takes no damage from Darkness 3 and then summons Neospatian Dark Panther. Jaden moves into his battle phase and uses Neos Wise Man to attack Darkness Bramble. However, the Darkness activates the effect of his Darkness Raincrow in his hand. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, he can send this card from his hand and 1 face-up Darkness Bramble he controls to the grave to special summon Darkness Neosphere from his deck. Darkness Neosphere is the Darkness's ace monster. Its effect is it cannot be normal summoned or set. It inherits the effects of Darkness Bramble on summon. So it can, once per turn during either player's turn, look at all set spells and traps you control, gain life points during the end phase if less than 4,000. As well, it has the effect to, once per turn, choose the positions of all spells and traps in your spell and trap zone. And once per turn, you can set 1 face-up spell or trap face down. With his ultimate boss monster on the field, the Darkness looks at his set cards, rearranges them to guarantee 3,000 burn next turn. However, since he's already used 0 Infinity this turn, he can't use them just yet. Jaden, knowing he'll lose on his next turn, activates the effect of his Dark Panther to make its stats and effect the same as 1 monster on the field. He chooses Darkness Neosphere. Jaden uses its effect to re-look at and rearrange the Darkness's set cards, making it so that there is nothing between 0 and Infinity. As well, he uses the last effect of Neosphere, which allows it to set a spell or trap on the field face down. He flips the Darkness's field spell face down. Now this is a 5D move. This is big brain. Why? Because it has put the Darkness in an absolute pickle. Because with the field spell face down, now if he wants to use his back row, he has to activate his field spell, but by doing that, the field spell destroys all spells and traps on the field. So if he activates the field spell, he destroys the very cards he's trying to activate. So that means 0 Infinity and the Darkness traps are completely shut out this duel for the rest of the game. And I might as well mention this, why does Darkness Neosphere have that really random ability where it can set a spell or trap face down? That seems tailor-made to ruin the Darkness's day. It's like tacked on. I guess it's there because if the Darkness activated one of his traps and it was, say, not 0 or Infinity, he could be like, oh, hold on, I'll set that back face down and I'll try a different one. That's probably why it has that effect, even though Neosphere can check everything anyway, so yeah, it just sucks that it happened to have that ability with Dark Panther on the field. Jaden ends his turn by setting Hope for the Future face down. And unfortunately, I have to say, Jaden, you cheated here, unfortunately. He summoned using Quick Summon and then used Cocoon Veil to tribute the summoned monster. But unfortunately, you can't do those 2 things in the same chain. So because the Darkness used his burn effect first, and then Jaden used his Quick Summon, and then he wanted to use the Cocoon Veil, unfortunately, he has to wait for the summon of the monster, and that would actually resolve this chain before he could start the next chain. There's no way he could actually do this unless there's some kind of anime logic I don't know about, but in the real world, yeah, you're not allowed to do that, unfortunately. So Jaden, technically, that's a big shenanigans. You cheated this turn. You should have lost this turn, but yeah, unfortunate, really. And just before we get to the penultimate turn, don't forget to subscribe. It means a lot, and I really appreciate it. It's the Darkness's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets a mysterious card. The Darkness moves straight into his battle phase and orders Darkness Neosphere to attack and destroy Jaden's Neos Wiseman. The play is successful. Upon being destroyed by a battle, Neos Wiseman's final effect activates. By banishing Yugioh from his grave, he can summon Elemental Hero Neos from his grave. With no further plays, the Darkness ends his turn. This is his last turn. I assume he had nothing good in his hand to play as well, but he does have quite a few dead cards in his hand that are mysterious. I wonder what they were. Would they have helped? I wonder. It's Jaden's turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Polymerization. With all the pieces in place, Jaden goes for his ultimate play. He activates his set, Hope for the Future. Now, by discarding a copy of Polymerization from his hand, while he controls an Elemental Hero Neos, he can send as many materials listed on a fusion monster from his deck to the grave. He chooses to summon Elemental Hero Divine Neos. He sends Neospatians Flare Scarab, Aqua Dolphin, Air Hummingbird, Grand Mole, and Glowmoss to the grave. Jaden performs a Divine Contact fusion. He fuses his Neos on the field with the 6 Neospatians in his grave by shuffling them back into the deck. He summons Elemental Hero Divine Neos. Divine Neos' effect is Jaden can banish a Neospatian in his deck to increase this monster's attack by 500. Then, this card gains that monster's effects during this turn. Jaden banishes all 6 of his Neospatians, absorbing all their effects into Divine Neos and gaining 500 attack for each one. Now, the only one that's really important to the story, like who cares about the other Neospatians, we'll talk about that in a minute, is the Flare Scarab. It increases the attack of his monster by 400 for every spell and trap the opponent has. So, now with an 8,400 attack Divine Neos, Jaden enters his battle phase, attacks Darkness Neosphere. It deals enough damage to win the duel. And with that, Jaden is the winner. What's that? There's still some more shenanigans to go. Oh, what now? Technically, since Jaden absorbed all 6 Neospatians, that means Divine Neos also had the effect of Glowmoss. I don't mean to be well, actually, but unfortunately, Glowmoss has a rather annoying ability. Its anime effect is, when it attacks or is attacked, the opponent draws 1 card. If the card drawn is a monster, the battle phase ends. If it's a spell, this attack becomes a direct attack. If it's a trap, this card is switched to defense. This effect isn't optional, it's mandatory, which means Jaden had to activate this effect when he attacks since he absorbed the ability of this monster. So technically, there was a 2 in 3 chance that he could have lost this duel. So yeah, technically a little bit of shenanigans there. I'm just hoping that Jaden maybe could have chose which effects he gains or something, but it wasn't stated on the card or anything like that. So overall, a great duel, but when you really look at it, there's a lot of shenanigans and stuff going on. And yeah, there were some opportunities for characters to win a little bit earlier, but what are you gonna do? Subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Happy Spooptober to all of you, and I hope you have a great day. Check out one of these videos if you fancy. Other than that, thank you for watching. Catch you later.